Welcome to another episode of Explicitly Unbiased. We're going to break down the Micah Parsons trade and see which team came on top. After that, I have a Heisman report card after week one. And lastly, me and Kaleb are going to go over the notable college football games after week one. Kaleb, hit that intro.
Whoa, what is this? Does Kaleb have great lighting in here or what?
Kaleb's on the road.
Yeah. Just back at the mom's place for now. I am in my mother's basement, believe it or not. So hitting all the stereotypes for sure. Welcome to Explicitly Unbiased, everybody. Gerardo welcomed you all very warmly. If you come here, apparently the statistics say you guys aren't fans of the things we have to say so far. We're hoping to either aggravate that to a boiling point or maybe, bring you over to our side of the fence. But we'll see how far we go on that. Gerardo, how are you?
I am doing amazing. Great day because college football is back. Football is absolutely back. And I cannot wait to break down everything that happened in college football week one, go over some notable things. And I mean, dude, we got to talk about something that happened in the NFL. Something really crazy happened like almost right after we recorded the show.
Yeah, it was crazy. I was gonna say something funny, but I didn't have it. Micah Parsons, the trade finally went through right after we shot. We spent probably 20 minutes talking about it, and then like minutes later, not minutes, maybe hours later, after the first video uploaded, maybe a day or two, it came out that he's getting traded. He was getting shipped to Green Bay for a price of 2 first-round picks and Kenny Clark, the D tackle. And shortly thereafter, Parsons signs a 4-year, $188 million extension with said Green Bay Packers. He's going to be their premier defensive player for years to come. The Packers all of a sudden might be a problem in the NFC North, maybe the NFC altogether. Gerardo, what are some of your initial reactions to this?
So both me and you were kind of on the same page that Dallas was going to re-sign him. That's what we were kind of leaning towards. The big notable thing that I have for this is how little he went for. I was hoping a minimum of 3 first-round picks to get a really good, to have this argument for the Cowboys that you're going to get better from this. The fact that he also signed that deal, my crazy theory is not happening anymore about that he goes to Green Bay, becomes a free agent, tests the market, and the next thing you know, he comes back to Dallas, and they ultimately essentially got Kenny Clark, 2 first-round picks, and Micah Parsons back. But he's going to stay there for at least 4 years and becoming the highest paid. I mean, and also the moniker of like he's the record-setting highest paid non-quarterback of all time.
Pretty much all he wanted.
Yep. Funny part is, though, after taxes out there in Green Bay, he's making $25 million a year.
Yeah, so gotta pay for that. Gotta pay for that Green Bay education.
Yeah. So technically, he's making as much money as he would have been making at the Cowboys this season. But it's the guaranteed money that's ultimately the main driving factor for most NFL players. Good for Green Bay. You fix a little bit of an issue that you do have. Like if you have great pass rush, usually your defensive backs are going to look a little bit better. You get a player that's not even in his prime yet, and he's going to be on the cusp of it. He's going to fit that defense very well. Rashawn Gary is going to be there. Now, the Cowboys did get Kenny Clark back, and that is a notable good player in this league to bolster up the interior defensive line. The thing is, what they do with these first-round picks ultimately will decide whether or not this trade was good or not.
Yeah, they could easily just be another Taco Charlton. Like
exactly, like it can come down to many different factors as well too. Because right now, Green Bay won. Green Bay won this deal. The fact that you only got them for 2 first-round picks is pretty amazing. Because one, it's not like you got 2 first-round picks in the same draft class. You just got one. The Cowboys now have 2 first-round picks this year and 2 first-round picks next year, which is good draft capital though. So, and especially having a Dak Prescott who is aging in this very hefty quarterback class that you're coming in. So you now have draft capital to move up. It's going to be a little bit more of a harder bargain to drive up because I'm assuming that the Green Bay Packers are going to be in the playoffs now with this move. and you're probably getting a late 20s pick with that, but nonetheless, you're probably swapping picks with the Browns, the Dolphins, of some ilk, maybe the Saints to get maybe the first overall pick, because both me and you have the Cowboys not doing very well this season, both finishing last in their division. So they are fighting for a top 5, top 10 pick as is. Losing Micah Parsons is a little bit now kind of, I mean, it's crazy to say that how talented he is, that hit the win-loss projection for the Cowboys does not actually change much.
No, not at
all. Ultimately, the big reason why the Cowboys win or lose is Dak Prescott. And not losing your head coach, moving on from Mike McCarthy and downgrading with Schottenheimer, and then now losing Micah Parsons. He was a lot of the players were shocked. Like, he was a big, relatively locker room guy.
Yeah.
And now he's gone. And then they decided to spend that money on a player.
Daron Bland, the corner, used to be an interception, pick six machine. Mm-hmm. Not sure what it's been lately, but apparently good enough that Jerry Jones thought, you know what, the money we just saved on Micah, let's throw a decent chunk at this Daron Bland guy, 4 years, another $2 million.
Yep. So ultimately, I'm going to give the Packers an A because they went out and got a notable top 10 player in this league for that draft capital. That is a great move. They're in win now mode. They understand that within that division, outside of Jared Goff, the other quarterbacks are younger than Jordan Love. So they are in win now mode. They have a very relatively good team built around Jordan Love as well too. Offensively, defensively, I'm still a little bit suspect on their defensive backs. Somebody's going to have to cover Amon St. Brown. Somebody's going to have to cover DJ Moore, and somebody's going to have to cover Jets, Addison, and now even Thielen over there. And I think no matter how good of a pass rush Rashawn Gary and Micah Parsons is, you still need people to cover. And losing Kenny Clark too as well, that's a notable nose tackle as well too, that was opening up gaps for Rashawn Gary and stuff like that. And their back seven I'm just not a big fan of the back seven of the Green Bay Packers.
Yeah, it's taken a large hit over the years. They haven't been able to kind of rebuild what they had with Jair Alexander, Kevin King, as they all just kind of leave. Mm-hmm. But yeah, so that's probably the last big trade you'll see this NFL season until the deadline at the very least. Mm-hmm. All the preseason drama seems to be over. Everybody's got their contracts. Everybody's in place, and the season starts on Thursday. One last little relevant piece of NFL news before we just kind of dive right in. The Patriots released safety Jabrill Peppers, one of their locker room leaders, one of the higher end safeties in football the last couple of years. Yep, captain. Last year had some legal issues. Got into a domestic dispute. Got on the commissioner's exempt list for 7-8 weeks. And the Patriots said, you know what, we're gonna let you go. 5 days before the season begins. Might not be relevant to a lot of people because a lot of people don't have the Patriots being a super factor in the AFC. Guys are maybe wild card, maybe 8-9. You had him 12-5.
But also he's a former first round pick. He was a notable player in.
Well, he never played a first round pick till he got here in New England.
But also the stat, that we were talking about pre-show was this means that there was no returning captains on the Patriots.
David Andrews retired. Joe Cardona gone.
And Mike Vrabel has come out and said that they will only have 3 captains.
I think we had 5 or 6 last year, so that checks out.
Which which is kind of very much a Mike Vrabel old school mentality. There's only your offensive captain, your defensive captain, and your special teams, and then the rotating the rotating week to week captain. So there's going to be 4 total per week, but 1 on rotation. Nowadays, dude, everybody gets that C on their chest, dang near, in the NFL nowadays, and it's and I've never been a fan of that neither, because I'm dude, how many captains or true leaders do you have on your team? Most of the time, yes, your quarterback is always going to get that C on his chest.
If he doesn't, it's a serious concern.
honestly, it is a very much a headline thing that if the quarterback does not get the captain, like there must be another really like you have to really convince me that there's another notable dude on that team that's much more convincing. Like I wouldn't be surprised if any quarterback on the Colts wasn't a captain. Like if it was just Quentin Nelson as the offensive captain, I'm cool with that. But I just think that nowadays, like having 7 captains, like some teams roll out that many. Like, dude, that's like there's no way there's that many leaders on
I
your
think
team.
5's your max.
Yeah. So
4 is the sweet spot. 3 is the minimum.
And then lastly, I mean, sick New Jerseys. What was it? The rivalry night.
Yeah, the rival jerseys. We should have made a note on that.
I just remember that, but it is the Patriots, the Bills, the Jets, the Cardinals, the 49ers, Dolphins. And I believe that's going to be it.
The Rams.
Yes, the Rams as well too, and Seahawks. That's it.
So the NFC West and the AFC East.
Yep. Most notably, when and people look this up, I'm gonna say because I remember what they looked like. The Miami Dolphins one is the worst. It's black.
I don't mind that.
Nah,
I don't mind it.
Arizona Cardinals is like this desert.
I liked the Cardinals one. I thought that was cool.
The 49ers one is pretty sick too. I like the font of the color for the jersey. The Bills is an all white now. Like it's an all white one. The Patriots isn't too bad. It's like a blue steel kind of color. It
looks like UNC.
And with the NE on the side.
It looks like UNC with like a splatter of red.
I would say probably no, because like the UNC is a little bit more baby bluish. That's like blue steel. Like I would almost say, like kind of the Jets, it's like this, it's like this green black, right? Because it's kind of look like this army-ish.
Yeah.
Like
Jets look like shit as they always do.
I mean, yeah, like that's not a notable thing. After that, then you have who else is on there? You have the Rams ain't too bad neither. The Seahawks, little bit
hit or miss.
Yeah, I'm not against it, but I'm not like a fan of it. I think the most notable ones, Bills getting an all white uniform, sick.
Patriots having something new is just
Patriots having a nice and also it being a nicer design. The Cardinals and 49ers also stick out. Other than that, I think that I'm not a fan of the Miami one.
The Cardinals one is probably my favorite.
The underwater theme, that's what they're calling it with the Dolphins.
Dark waters,
It's to me, it's just a little bit too much of a contrast with the teal and orange.
I think it's gonna look better on the field than it does in the image.
in these like nice like images that they provided. Yeah.
I think that's a uniform that's really gonna pop on the field and you're gonna change your mind on September 29th.
Okay. But I think those are the relatively notable big NFL news. We got rivalry jerseys, and then we also got the notable cut of Jabrill Peppers. No returning captains are coming back for the Patriots this year. And Micah Parsons getting traded to the Packers. And I think, I have him 9-8 this year than on my predictions, I believe.
Yeah, you might want to bump him up to like 10-7.
Yeah, I think maybe a double-digit win team this year. I think he gave him an extra game, like a game and a half win on there. Because I think they just bolstered up him and Rashad Gary's that's a decent pass rush right there. Like that's above average, like a top 10 pass rush. I think just going down to my main concern is just still the DBs. Like you have a wide receiver playing cornerback for that team. That's
not good.
No. Yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of, like I call it. It's our housekeeping.
Yep.
Things get dirty. You got to brush them up. We've cleaned up the loose ends, and we're moving on to the meat and potatoes of the segment. College football kicked off officially week 1. Like anyway, we don't really care about week 0 around here. This was the beginning, and a lot of things happened. We're gonna start with a lot of player specific stuff, specifically Heisman race. Last week we talked a lot about guys we thought could be a factor. I'll let you start it off first. Who do you want to start with? Where do you want to go? This is your list, your report card. I want you to take the reins on it.
Yeah. So on my lovely Heisman report card, I made this lovely little cute little graphic on here. And I'm going to talk about first. Let's get all the bad stuff out the way first. And I'm going to save Arch for last for everybody. But Cade Klubnik, I mean, this dude, number 1 overall pick that we had coming in, he did not look good at all against that LSU team. Now, LSU's defense last year, horrible. LSU's defense this year, I mean, they got some bite to them. And he didn't perform notably too well like a first overall pick would, a Heisman hopeful would. Like, this is getting on the territory of Carson Beck. Like
19 of 38, 230, 1 pick.
Yep. No touchdowns.
Nope.
So that's not good. That's not. And the notable stats that we have, because we're going to talk about some players that lost their first game. Only 2 players since 2000 have ever lost their first game and won the Heisman. And I would put an asterisk actually next to those 2 players. Jaden Daniels won the Heisman but lost his first game, but he threw for over 350 some yards. That's good. And he also played against I believe that was an undefeated Florida State team that year. And after that, you had Johnny Manziel. Now, Johnny Manziel's first game got postponed against Louisiana Tech. He would have won. And the first game, he had over 200 yards of all-purpose yards, and he only lost to a very good Florida Gators team that year by 3 points. Cade Klubnik, did not look at all like himself, did not look like a first overall pick would. And on top of that, when you win the Heisman, notable Heisman winners have Heisman moments, you would say. And usually it's against a very good team. Like Lamar Jackson when he destroyed Florida State. Heisman moment. When Johnny Manziel beat Alabama, Heisman moment. And that also if you were to go Joe Burrow beating Texas, smoking them, big time Heisman moment. Cade Klubnik, this is a Heisman moment game. You're kicking off the game against a very, probably the 3rd best or a top 3 team in the SEC overall. They also have a quarterback, so you're going to be compared to him that whole game. And, he did not look good at all, did not look like the first overall pick. Now, granted, you're in a weird spot because this is kind of like preseason territory for college football, because there are some teams that play against a team that's an FBS opponent or very lower ranked team as their first game. And I commend teams that go out and do play tough opponents week 1, but I am also on the side that if I was a coach, I would always treat week 1 as preseason, and I will play a way smaller team because I would rather work out the kinks through those games than I don't know who I am, and I also don't know who that team is too. And I do not know if that's a good telltale sign of what my team may be and how to improve my team. This LSU team also, last year, they weren't that notably good. They lost a very notable game against Texas A&M. Texas A&M wasn't a good team last year. So how do you know that this LSU team doesn't go 7-5, and then that's the first game you lost to, and then Clemson goes undefeated the rest of the year? What? You don't really have a good temperature gauge on that. But Cade Klubnik to me is getting a D on this report card. Garrett Nussmeier now on the opposite end was the big determining factor of why they won. It wasn't a good showing for him stat-wise. He made the correct plays. He played it safe, and I'm giving him a B+ on this one. He had, I think, 170 yards passing and a touchdown.
Stand by. 28 38, 230, 1 touchdown.
Yep, 230. So against it, mind you, this is a very good Clemson defense.
133.2 passer rating.
Yep, that very good stats. So that's even though there's nothing showy about it, if you see you only won by 17 points, you don't think oh, he probably didn't light them up. But that's a very good Clemson defense. It's a very good overall team, and I'm giving him a solid B+. That could be kind of your Heisman moment, but that would be a very lackluster year if that's your Heisman moment is that game. Now going into the notable guys that I would say that were on the positive ends of this. John Mateer or Mater, I don't know how to really pronounce his name correctly, for Oklahoma. Oh my God, this dude dotted up that defense that he played against. Oklahoma looked was firing on all cylinders. I believe he had an interception in this game, but he had 4 total touchdowns. Over 300.
30 of 37,
Yep.
392 passing yards, 3 touchdowns, 1 pick.
And then he had a touchdown on the rushing touchdown.
Yeah, 7 carries, 24 yards, and a touchdown.
So 4 total touchdowns. I mean, like, dude, 30 for 38. That's insane. Like, great notable game. And on top of that, why he comes from Washington State, and his offensive coordinator also came with him to Oklahoma. So it isn't like a plug and play guy. Like, this is us, Oklahoma's old offense. No, like, they really went out and found a very good marriage, I would say, with offensive coordinator and quarterback. He doesn't have to learn anything. So he's not like coming into a new scheme. He's just literally doing what he was doing at Washington State. And he's surrounded by a top 10 talented team. And I think Oklahoma's always had a history of great quarterbacks. And John Mateer has looked exactly the part. He's getting an A. Like, this is what you kind of want Heisman hopefuls to look like week 1 on the much more positive end. Dante Moore for the Oregon Ducks. I mean, they played against a very weaker opponent, but at the same time, it's kind of like how we said about housekeeping. You're just working out all the kinks. Week 1 that's what you just got to figure out.
Montana State, I mentioned them earlier.
Yes. So Montana State, yeah, he looked really well. Nothing too notable. Like, there wasn't like a crazy stat line of his.
18 of 23, 213, 3 touchdowns.
Yep. And then look very solid. I mean, Oregon is going to look really good this whole season. He's probably their best quarterback they've had since probably, I'm going to say, like, Marcus Mariota in sort of offensive skill set. Like, Bo Nix is very talented. He's always been very talented. I just think, like, especially on the running aspect of this game, like, Dante Moore is up there. And also, notably, Dante Moore was on that same recruiting class as Arch Manning that we'll get to at the end of this. Tommy Castellanos,
former BC guy.
So he gets a B-, and a lot of people are like, well, he beat Alabama. So the B- kind of goes with them beating Alabama, not based on his stat line. So he has no passing touchdowns. They kind of were very much a run-heavy first offense. His passing stats did not look that well, and he did have a rushing touchdown.
Yeah, 9 for 14, 152. 16 carries, 78 yards, and a touchdown. Pretty ho-hum, I would say.
Yeah, exactly. So that's why I said B-. Like, he gets more on the positive end because he beat Alabama, not because of his stat line. And especially, like, he wasn't a notable factor. Like, 9 for 14. Like, that means you're, like, dang near not passing the ball. And they probably knew, hey,
the Mac Jones ass stat line.
You're essentially saying, like, hey, this dude's way better on his feet, like, way better of a threat on their feet than on his feet. And then obviously with the zone run scheme, like the RPOs and stuff like that. So I'm giving him a B-. But notable win for, like, them as well too, Florida State. Jaden Maiava and these last 2 guys, they're not necessarily Heisman hopeful guys. I just want to
guys you want to talk about, yeah.
Yeah, Jaden Maiava, I mean, former UNLV guy. He put up really good stats for them, but he comes to USC and he looks great. Now, granted, this is also a USC team that I don't really know what to make of. And let's say their current head coach is the guy who made Baker Mayfield a Heisman winner. He made Kyler Murray a Heisman winner. And he also made Caleb Williams a Heisman winner. The dude just makes Heisman winning guys, so I'm not shocked.
Yeah, Maiava, 15 of 18, 295, 2 touchdowns through the air.
1 on the ground.
And then 2 carries, 9 yards, and a score on the ground. So 3 on the day, over 300 all purpose. Pretty low volume through the air, I would say, but efficient nonetheless.
Oh, yeah.
And their backup went 9 for 9, scored a touchdown on poor Missouri State.
Yeah, and like I said, like, it's these games you can see what they did right and what they didn't. Like, you're not asking him to, like, hey, bro, I need you to throw 30 times this game. Like, if you're efficient, you get the job done. That's all we care about. And he looked very efficient and looked very good. And I would put him on the Heisman. I would put him at the very low end of Heisman hopeful because I don't really know what to make of this USC team. And if they somehow get to double-digit wins and his stat lines look like that throughout the year based on also who they play against, he is going to be in the top 5 conversation by the end of the year, 100%. And lastly, Jaron, I'm going to butcher this name. I'm going to JKS. He's a true freshman at Cal. This dude had looked amazing. This Cal team, mind you, lost their quarterback last year. Devin Brown, former Ohio State quarterback, transfers in. Everybody believed he was just going to take the job. This true freshman comes in.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Jaron.
Jaron. Stand by. I'm going to try to find
Jaron Q. Is it like Quay?
I'm going to try to find a pronunciation.
Sagapolotule.
That might be close.
Sagapolotule. I'm probably sorry, all of my Polynesian people out there. But he looks like a straight up stud, bro. Like, in his stat line that game too, because mind you, they played a I don't know if Oregon State's in conference game for them, because I don't know what the Pac-2 or what the Pac-12 used to be, what is and what isn't now, or if Cal's in the ACC, I think this year still. But they played against Oregon State. Oregon State's a decent team. I had Oregon State beating them this year because they got the former Duke transfer, Malik Murphy, who was, I believe, a former UT guy who's starting over there. And Malik is really notable, good. Like, he's a very above average starting quarterback for the Duke Blue Devils, and now goes to Oregon State. I had them winning, and this dude comes in and straight up looks like a stud.
I got a pronunciation, I think.
Here we go.
Jaren Kawi Sunga Polutele.
Yep. That dude's a stud, bro. If you could read off his stats, like this dude, I think I have him right here, actually.
I'm never going to get that. JKS.
20 for 30, 66% completion, 3 total touchdowns, 234 yards.
Solid.
True freshman going against Oregon State, 34-15 win. Like, he's absolutely looking like a stud already for Cal. And like I said, they were going to experience relatively a setback because they lost their starting quarterback from last year. And remember, that was a team that almost beat Miami last year. And they get Devin Brown, like I said, a former Ohio State quarterback there. And everybody believed that Devin Brown was going to automatically start. And this dude comes in and is a straight stud. 6'3", 225 pounds. He looks like Tua if Tua put on good weight.
Also, had the right hand.
Well, no, because he's also left-handed.
Oh, brother. Yeah. Undrafted.
Yeah, and mind you, I do have, because there's not many successful left-handed, but college-wise, listen, I'm willing to stay with my stud, JKS. So I'm a big fan of him. I highly doubt that he's going to be a Heisman like player at the end of the year, but it's a notable guy that I want to make because as a true freshman doing that, like, absolute stud. I know Michigan, the Michigan fans are probably getting on me because their true freshman looked really good as well too. The number 1 overall prospect, true freshman this year. On Underwood, I think he threw for 250 some yard passes. Like, he was looking pretty decent too. But the fact that, JKS played against a conference opponent or a notable good team and looked that well off the rip as a true freshman, like, shows to me that, and I'm giving him an A-. I give Jaden a B- for the Heisman report card week 1. Now,
can I propose a player?
Yeah, go ahead.
Arizona State's wide receiver Jordan Tyson.
He was an absolute stud.
12 catches, 141 yards, 2 scores. They beat up on the Northern Arizona Lumberjacks 38-19. But Jordan Tyson is the man. Looked really good.
Notable NFL, a legit NFL prospect as well too. I think he's like wide receiver 1 to some people.
Should be.
He looks like an absolute stud. I showed you a highlight of his that he made like a ridiculous catch to that.
Yeah, I couldn't watch for whatever reason. I can't remember what I was doing last night.
But Arizona, and I would say Arizona State's like your team ish that you're kind of following this year.
I got 2. The Gophers and them. The Gophers, they won their game. No Heisman. Actually, Darius Taylor was all right. The running back.
So, but no. Also going to Tyson, like, he was really good this game. The only issue that I have with like putting him on Heisman hopeful is the fact that it's a wide receiver. Like he would have to do like 2,000 yards receiving.
He's not going to do that.
And now, granted, nothing's impossible. But also, no offense to like Devontae Smith when he won it, it has to be also a lackluster Heisman race too. Because
hey, listen, the top two guys had shitty weeks this week.
Yeah, which is true. But it's also like guys like John Mateer like just went off. Like it'd be one thing that if all these guys I listed all kind of just like didn't do over 200 yards, and then it's like, okay, like Jordan Tyson had like a ridiculous game, then I would be like, okay, Jordan Tyson's like the number one guy right now. And also, if he does well, that also means his quarterback does well, and his quarterback would probably be a little bit higher on the Heisman hopeful list as well too. He's also a little bit of a stud too. I kind of like him on the dual threat action as well too, but he also didn't have like a really good shaky first game. Arizona State, they have a really good offense, just not a good offensive line. But Jordan, what's his name? Is it Jordan Tyson?
Jordan Tyson.
Yeah, that dude's a legit stud. I'm a big fan of his.
Like him and Sam Levitt are going to be a pretty impressive QB wide receiver duo to watch.
Oh yeah, I think like that's a really good core to watch in college football right now. Like those two, absolutely stud. Another notable guy on here that I probably didn't put on here that Gunnar Stockton for UGA just did what a UGA quarterback should do. Honestly, just keep it simple. Your team is way talented around you. Just don't make the mistakes. And he looked really good. Carson Beck that we just watched here actually was very notable against Notre Dame. As we were recording this episode, he looked pretty good. Over 200 yards passing and 2 touchdowns with a 3-point win against notable Notre Dame. So he's coming up. But also it wasn't like how do I say that? Watching him play, it's not like he did win them the game, but I would still say that it wasn't like he took up. Like Garrett Nussmeier won the game for LSU. John Mateer won the game. Like same thing with like JKS at Cal, won the game. Like his stat line is very reflective on how good that team actually operated. Tommy Castellanos and like would probably be in that middle tier of like, I don't know, like yes, his stats won the game, but also it was their rushing attack was just that much better against a very, I don't know, like Alabama's defense is now a little bit questionable, I would say, having Florida State run as well as they did. But the last thing that we're going to touch upon is the ugly.
It's the man of the hour.
Yeah, Manning of the hour. Arch Manning, F grade. Like, oh my God. I'm gonna say this. When me and Kaleb, we've been friends for a hot minute. I also been a guy I love high school recruiting. I'm really good at that, especially in the quarterback position. And the Arch Manning conversation. So Dante Moore was up there in the same recruiting class as him. Dante Moore was also notably ranked ahead of Arch Manning as a prospect on certain websites. I applaud those websites for doing that. Dante Moore played against much tougher opponents throughout his high school career, had way better stat lines. The Arch Manning conversation starts first throughout his high school recruiting. So one, Louisiana. Louisiana is very much a top-heavy level and talent at Louisiana, meaning like there are some 5-star studs there, and then the rest of the state sucks. Like as a whole, they are not a depth, I would say, state when it comes to being a pipeline. For instance, I would say like at times Ohio may produce a number 1 overall player, may not, but they're very consistent of having notable 5 stars and notable 4 stars and notable 3 stars. Like altogether, there's a very depth pipeline state for recruiting. And where Louisiana, it's like, okay, here's the 3 best players in Louisiana, and like the 4th best player in Louisiana is a 2-star. And that's usually how Louisiana has always been when it comes to notable talent. And when you're recruiting players and evaluating them, the problem is how they're going against their constituents in their state, because you have to compare them to who they played against. Arch Manning played 2A ball in Louisiana. If for people who don't understand like the level of like high school rankings when it comes to like sports, 2A is dang near like one of the worst in like high school football. Now, granted, you can only play whoever you got, right? Like in Texas, it goes up to like 7A. Like it's, and mind you, because Texas is so big, the amount of talent that there is, but like Arch Manning also was not only just playing against 2A talent, against defensively. Can you take a wild guess what was the biggest star rating that he played against as a defensive opponent?
2.5 stars.
Close, 2. A 2-star player. Now, when you're the number 1 overall recruit and the best competition you faced all year was a 2-star player,
red flags go up.
That's a little bit questionable, especially when it comes to quarterback, right? I'm okay with Leonard Fournette being a 5-star running back because at the end of the day, it's like you're still kind of like running back is not much of a difference when you get to the college football, when you get to the pros. And same thing with like even like what's it, Moses that played, like he was a notable linebacker that came out of Louisiana, that he was a 5-star overall dude. He was like the number 8th overall player, and playing linebacker is a little bit different because it's like, okay, like at the end of the day, an offense can literally scheme you out and make you irrelevant, and you're still making plays day in and day out, no matter what the competition that shows on tape. As a quarterback, like, dude, the other team doesn't have a quarterback that can compete with you. So that means you're going to be benched probably by after the first half if you put up ridiculous numbers. And then Arch Manning does the most unmanning thing possible. He went to a school to get set behind somebody. And
not typically what Mannings are known for.
And including his dad. Like, mind you, his dad was a stud at wide receiver at Ole Miss. And my thing is with that, and I've always said that if Arch Manning's last name was Smith and he had no relation to them, at best, he was a 4-star quarterback based on what you saw with him throughout his high school recruiting. And then he does the most unmanning thing possible. He goes to a school in which he was not going to compete for notably 2 years. At best, he wasn't competing for 1 year. And I have never, when you are drafting a quarterback, Caleb, let's say you're even recruiting a quarterback.
My hit marker would be pretty brutal.
You know what I'm saying? The guy you want to be the most competitive on your team is I'm okay with being a backup. And then also, mind you, this is statements he's also said about yours throughout his career of them together, that he's okay with being his biggest supporter, that he's okay with him being the starter and he will wait his turn. If I want a quarterback, I want a quarterback to say it's my job.
Especially with a guy like Arch Manning. Like let me just use an example. Not a perfect example because it didn't turn out this way in real life, but I'll push the example and we'll see where it goes. Last year, the Minnesota Gophers, they got UNH transfer Max Brosmer to run their offense. He was like had the injury waiver, had the COVID waiver, so he's been around for a little while. If Drake Lindsay was ready to go as a true freshman, I didn't bring in Max Brosmer to be the guy. He's supposed to be a Band-Aid. If I'm looking for that attitude out like Max Brosmer, I'm looking for that attitude in the NFL from Joe Flacco because he's not my long-term plan. Arch Manning is supposed to be Texas' guy to bring them to the championship. He's not a Band-Aid player.
Yeah, you didn't recruit him.
That kind of attitude is a Band-Aid attitude.
Yeah, like I didn't recruit the number one overall quarterback. Some people, the number 1 overall prospect, to be okay with being a bench player. No, like I'm trying to, and on top of that too, mind you, we are in the era of the NIL. All these notable quarterbacks have, the moment they were not the dude anymore, or you brought in somebody for me to compete, guess what? I'm out of here. Bye. I'm gonna go be somewhere that's a starter. Like that's the thing that's bothered me the most about Arch Manning is not only was his high school tape kind of suspect, not only that, but his recruitment process was also suspect. You're not going to go to a team that needs a quarterback, or not even just needs a quarterback, but like you can legitimately.
For my sake, tell me the schools that he turned down.
Well, Tennessee and
like
Ole
where
Miss.
He would have started.
So Tennessee, Ole Miss, he turned down. Which at the time, what you're looking at 2 years ago, he would have been competing with a transfer Jackson Dart at the time as a true freshman. Tennessee, he would have probably legitimately been a true freshman starter because Nico didn't come into the scene until literally last year. But on top of that, too, like, was it Georgia was recruiting him, but then what? Carson Beck, Gunnar Stockton was already there. So he was at best being a third stringer there. But you're talking about number one overall pick, like Heisman, like number one overall high school recruit. That means any school you go to, they would gladly accept you. And for you to go to UT, who had viewers, who also, mind you, that was the one of the third highest ranked quarterback prospects to come out of high school. Viewers reclassified. He came in early. He's also a notable, huge, Ewers was way bigger than what Arch Manning was coming out of Texas. He was at a notable school, won, I believe, a state title with him. Him and Cade Klubnik have gone head to head many times. And he goes to Ohio State, only goes to Ohio State there to be a backup, kind of collect an NIL check, and then goes to Texas. And he was a legitimate stud. He was also a legitimate NFL prospect as well, too, at UT. That's why it was like, okay, that's a former number one overall quarterback. That's a five-star who looked like it had every reason to be a five-star. And then you're okay with going in there when they kind of made the decision that it is yours team. Like, they fully were like, nah, I mean, Arch can come here and compete, but at the end of the day, the 50-50 goes to yours no matter what. And then yours makes that decision. I'm going to come back for my senior year and play. And then Arch Manning, at that moment, I think he should have just nutted up and just been like, all right, I'm gone. Like, I'm okay with you sitting behind yours because of that situation for year one. I'm not okay with him sitting behind him on year two.
Yeah.
And breaking down the game against Ohio State, mind you, this is not a notably good Ohio State team. Like, this isn't, people are like, oh, they're the reigning national championship. Bro, like 75% of that roster's gone. Like, that is not the team that won them. Then
two running backs, a quarterback.
Two running backs, a quarterback, and then, mind you, two quarterbacks left because technically Devin Brown was the backup last year. So then you're technically your third stringer of last year is now your starter. You lost two starting running backs. Your whole offensive line, but one player stayed. Your whole defensive line, but one player stayed. Caleb Downs is the only notable defensive player that stayed.
My draft crush next year.
Oh, he's an absolute stud, bro. But Arch Manning against a 10-2 team, Ohio State would be very good for them this year, I would say. I could see them maybe losing to Michigan and Penn State. But for Arch Manning to not score a single point until 7 minutes left in the game, bro, what? Like, this is your coming out party, bro. This is your time to, show everybody you are the prince that was promised. And the big thing that I noticed about this game, other than being it massively fucking boring, where's UT's offense? Did they really just invest the Arch is just going to make everybody look better than they actually are? No, you're still going to need studs around you. And Arch Manning, I have never seen a piss poor performance from somebody. And then I've never been the biggest fan of him because, like I said, of his high school recruitment, his attitude, that does not seem like he's a dog.
Mm-hmm.
That's not dog mentality. I would have rather you, for instance, let's say, I don't know, would have been if Quinn Ewers would have stays last year. And then there is a quarterback competition opened up somewhere. Bro, why didn't you, Arch? Why didn't you prove to everybody, man, I'm here to win. I'm here to start. I'm not sitting behind you. The plan was, I thought you were going to leave after your redshirt junior year or his true junior year, and I'm going to play. There'd have been notable teams that would have done everything. I mean, put it this way. Will Howard was a transfer to Ohio State. What if Arch Manning went to Ohio State instead and started as a true freshman? They would have probably loved it.
Yeah. They might have lost to Michigan again.
That, or, same thing with, Michigan. Michigan had a quarterback vacancy. JJ just left to the NFL. Why not get Arch Manning? Same thing with Oregon. Oregon had a quarterback vacancy, and they brought in Dylan Gabriel. These were notable places where Arch Manning could have been and surrounded by immensely talented teams there and proven that he was the dog. But what did Arch Manning do? He did the most unmanning thing possible. He was okay with being on the bench. And that will never and should never sit right with anybody, I think. If you're okay with how Arch Manning has treated his college career, I would be a little bit upset with you because it's like there's no quarterback. Like, bro, there's less talented quarterbacks that have made that decision a lot better than Arch Manning did. Like, I'm not the start. Listen, I thought I was going to be the starter at least my sophomore year. Guess what? I'm not. Bye. I'm out of here. Now, the devil's advocate argument that you would make is Dante Moore was a starter at true freshman at UCLA, transfers to Oregon, a team that he originally wanted to play for, and then they bring in Dillon Gabriel, and Dillon Gabriel beats him out, and then he sits on the bench. But at least he sat on the bench for 1 year and was like, all right, I'm going to play after this. And he beat everybody out and decided to play. And I'm just not this is starting to show like who Arch Manning is. Now, granted, it is one game. You want to play devil's advocate. It is one game. It's against the number 3 team in the nation and stuff like let's say Ohio State does go undefeated and they're the number 1 team in the Big Ten. Okay. But Arch Manning, I'm going to need you to throw for 400 yards this year, bro, in a game. I'm going to need to start the year off with, like I said, here's all the notable things that are not going Arch Manning's way for him to win the Heisman. 1, he's a preseason favorite. Both me and you talked about it, that the Heisman curse is very much a real thing. The only 2 players to ever lose their first game were Johnny Manziel and Jaden Daniels. Both relatively have asterisks next to their name because Jaden Daniels did 350 yards passing.
And Johnny had a weird scheduling
thing. Johnny would have won his first game, but also had over 200 all-purpose yards against a very good Florida team. Where if you can find Arch Manning's stat line against Ohio State, there is no, I promise you there is no stat line on there that looks good for him.
Arch Manning in the 14-7 loss against Ohio State. He threw 17 for 30, 170 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception, a QBR of 58, put 38 yards on the ground.
And then what was it? Almost 50% passing rate? 17 for 30?
Yeah, it was a little over half.
So you were throwing the ball. So you were committed to that, and he did not look good at all. That's why I'm giving it an F grade. And I think you would have to, now granted, he does play in the SEC, so he's going to face Alabama. He's going to face these notable big teams. Now granted, Alabama just lost to Florida State, but if another guy I have on here, John Mateer, that's going to be a quarterback battle right there. And unfortunately, I think John Mateer is going to beat the brakes out of him offensively.
Yep, that's October 11th.
And so you have all these big games. That is Arch Manning's only saving grace from this is the fact that I play in the SEC. That's going to work for me. I'm going to play against notable televised games, and it is a week 1 game. It's a preseason game, essentially, for college football. It's the most likely that upsets do happen because nobody knows. I'm not a big fan of preseason rankings until week 7 or 10, really, because you really don't know how good these teams are. Last year, Florida State went undefeated. They go 3-9 the next year. This year, they beat Alabama. I'm complete. I don't know who's who. I don't know if Florida State's good. I don't know if Alabama sucks. I don't know if LSU's good. I don't know if Clemson sucks. So those are the positives you would say about Arch Manning, but my betting dollar is the fact that he does not win a Heisman, and he is not relatively going to turn this around to make him a Heisman contender. I'm talking about if he loses one more game, that's a wrap. He is not going to be and what I mean by lose another, it don't matter even what game it is, because if he loses to a bad SEC opponent, gone.
Kentucky, yeah.
If you lose to Alabama, okay, well then Alabama lost to Tommy Castellanos. What? If you lose to Oklahoma, that means John Mateer outdueled you. If you lost to LSU, that means Garrett Nussmeier probably outperformed you. So he's in a no-win situation if he loses another game.
Yeah,
he would have to go undefeated the rest of the year and essentially almost do a minimum of 200 yards passing and at least 2 touchdowns per game for me to and mind you, that's just if everybody else sucks and he does all right. Those are not stats that win Heisman races. He would need a four touchdown pass game, and he would need a 300 plus more passing game against a very notable team for the narrative to really be turned around about Arch Manning.
Yep, and I'll close it with this. This does not finish the story on if he can be a good player.
Mm-hmm. That's absolutely true.
This is just closing, or is getting. It's a warning sign for he might not be as good coming out of the box as we all kind of thought that he might.
Right, exactly. This isn't the guy that the Saints are willing to suck their season for just in case he comes out.
And I don't think he's going to come out, and I think that'd be smart.
Mm-hmm.
All right. That was your Heisman report card, Arch Manning rant. Let's get into the overall report cards and some featured matchups. You want to do the matchups first before the report card?
So just tell me the matchups. So let's do one by one, and then my pick, and then my grade on both those teams for that game.
Okay. Well, the first one you didn't have a pick, but I thought it was notable because you had them in your playoff. Mm-hmm. South Florida beats number 25 Boise State 34-7.
Golly, yeah. Like, mind you, a little preface it. I didn't pick on any of the Boise State games. I just kind of won by default on my thing. But like, what a big upset to start the year. Like, to me, kind of set the tone for what week one was going to be. Like, you did not know what was going to happen. I think this is the most unsure I have been about college football in a very long time, I think.
Yep. And obviously we just went over UT beats Ohio State, or Ohio State beats UT 14-7. Yep.
My notable takeaway from that is that's also an F grade for Texas overall. Offensively, defensively, that team was like one of the most notable boring games of all time. Like, that game was 7-0 at half. That game really didn't become a game until the fourth quarter, until 7 minutes left. Like, it was just so boring. It was a punt game. It was a turnover game. Like, it was like, and then also none of the big players performed well at all in this game. Arch Manning didn't perform well. The offensive play calling for Texas didn't perform well. The offensive play calling for Ohio State. I mean, Chip Kelly's a big loss for them, it seems, as well as the notable wide receiver, Jeremiah Smith. Like, where was he? Like, was almost a non-factor there.
But, the big addition that Ohio State had was Matt Patricia, a defensive coordinator. Arch didn't know what to do. Look at that, a Patriots guy owning a Manning. Who would have thought?
Yeah. But I would also say, like, that was just overall, like, Texas wants to forget about this game as fast as they can. This was not, because this is also a game, like how I talked about, like, why I would rather you perform. Like, I would rather UT play against Rice first game, or U of H, or something like that, like a competitive-ish team, or just a notable team that that you would win because you can work out your kinks from that. This game, what you might as well get a whole new team at this point. Like, I don't know if your offensive line's good. I don't know if your wide receivers are good. I do not know if you have a run game. I don't know if you even have a quarterback. I don't even know if you have a defense. Like,
well, you'll get your wish this week. They're playing San Jose State on Saturday.
Right. And then now you would split the tape and be like, what did we lose from last year? And what did we lose from game one? What did we lose in game two?
Yeah,
like,
they'll get a 3-game stretch of like kind of working it out. San Jose State, UTEP, Sam Houston, all at home. And then Saturday, October 4th, they go to the Swamp to play number 15 Florida.
So essentially that is preseason for them. This was like their big, and
so they walked into the slaughter, and now they got to regroup.
Yeah. So, but then also, like, the weird thing is with that, right? Because now you're kind of working backwards, is that, so this is how we are against good teams, and then this is how we are against really bad teams. Like, none of those teams, I promise you, are going to be anywhere close to UT's level. And then all of a sudden you jump into competition again. So you are on two opposite ends of the spectrum. So you play no middle level team. Like, they don't go play I would even say like a Kentucky. Like, you don't play or an Ole Miss. Like, you wouldn't play an Ole Miss team who's like legitimately like a probably fourth best team in their SEC division. And then you would probably be able to gauge, okay, I can hang with Florida, or we could have beat Ohio State if we did this. No, you're just beating a whole bunch of teams that you're supposed to beat. And then you have this really ugly loss, and then you don't know, am I bad against?
You don't know who you are until you get back to Florida.
Exactly.
And Florida's not a gimme. Even in
there we
bad
go.
years, Florida's not a gimme.
Yeah, and so that's why now that's why I gave Texas an F grade. And the opposite end of that, Ohio State a C plus. I think you just barely pass, bro. You are striving for like, hey, C's get degrees. I get it, but I don't. This Ohio State team doesn't look like a championship contender. Like this, it was such a. Even if Ohio State won like 21-7, I would still be like, oh, like this UT team's so bad right now. Like based on what I just saw week one, this is only based on week one. And this Ohio State team, I'm like, bro, like Jeremiah Smith is not getting the ball. Like you're going to miss Chip Kelly a whole lot more than I thought. Like, and also your quarterback isn't that notably like he isn't a CJ Stroud. He isn't even a like, he's not one of those guys where I'm just like, oh, this offense is going to be really clicking underneath him. This is going to be a down year for Ohio State. And a lot of people kind of predicted that as much as you lost on there too. I mean,
they're kind of going through what Michigan did last year.
Yeah. And I mean, also Will Howard, like, yes, he was a notable Kansas State guy, but like Will Howard also wasn't no like end all be all at Ohio State like that. He was a serviceable winning quarterback in college football. But Ohio State, like I've always said, like when they had Troy Smith, when they had Braxton Miller, when they had him there too, when they had even 12 gauge there, Cardell Jones.
Yep.
And even when they had the guy after him, number 16, I forget his name, who had like broke all those Ohio State stats, who ended up being a quarterback for the Saints. Not really that good guy, but like even CJ Stroud, even when you have as well the dude who's on the Jets right now, I always forget his name. Justin Fields. Like those are guys that like I believe in those quarterbacks at Ohio State. Like they were notable, good guy. JT Barrett was the other guy I was thinking of. Like those were quarterbacks that I believe that they could win. Like they were going to win a game for Ohio State. I don't know if Julian Saying is that guy. I think he's a little bit maybe like a stat patter. I think like especially with that Ohio State offense, but at the same time, he didn't pat no stats against UT. And it's not like this UT defense is on paper they look fearsome, but like it was just kind of like offensive, like their offensive play calling was just that bad, I would say.
Your number 11 ranked GT beats Colorado 27-20.
Yep. Georgia Tech, who I had in the playoffs, Haynes Keen, former Texas A&M guy, looked really good against that Colorado team. I mean, also I kind of predicted that Colorado was going to have a setback. You lose a Heisman and a very good quarterback, a very good college quarterback in Shedeur Sanders. Like you are going to suffer a setback as well. And I think Georgia Tech is just going to surprise some people this year.
Yeah, GT's not for nothing, a pretty solid school.
Yeah. And they, like I said, I keep harping on this. They should have beat Georgia last year, and Georgia's a very good team.
The real USC, South Carolina beats Virginia Tech 24-11.
Yep. Very good showing for their young quarterback out there. He's very good. He's actually a legitimate NFL prospect. Very good showing. Yep. He is a very good guy. And but Virginia Tech, I mean, God almighty, since the Frank Beamer days, man, like also just, 11 points.
Just horrifically mediocre.
Yeah. Like they're until they need to get one of those guys like a Tyrod Taylor, Michael Vick, like even who's the dude who ended up playing like tight end?
Logan Thomas.
Like you need to go back to that Virginia Tech. Like those were the times y'all were winning.
Shout out to LCL.
Yeah. But I mean, good job for South Carolina. They could be a little bit scary this year. They could be a little bit scary.
I agree. I think people are sleeping on them.
I think they're like kind of like Ole Miss of last year. Like they are going to beat a notable team, but they'll probably get 3 losses.
Number 9, LSU takes on number 4, Clemson, your national champions. Your national champions took an L, 17-10. LSU wins.
Yep, and I predicted 33-20 on this game, Clemson. And man, oh man, this is the one I'm eating the most crow on.
Yep.
Same with the Alabama one that we're going to talk about. So I had Clemson. It's just a little bit opposite of their quarterback. I think their team overall did a C, excuse me, on there. Their team still does look very solid. Like they were going after the quarterback really well. They have legitimate NFL prospects. I just think just kind of like the Clemson, the Texas and Ohio State, I just think this is a week 1 matchup where it was just kind of like I would preferred you would have played a much smaller team to figure out your kinks. Now, granted, the ACC is really not that difficult to schedule for Clemson this year. But I give them, like, their team is still very solid. This is the team I think is going to bounce back the most from a loss from week one. They're still going to be in the national championship contender competition. I think I moved them down from true contenders to like a 50-50 guy because of this loss. Because if Cade continues to play like this, like, man, you're going to be a little bit upset and disappointed this season. And I gave LSU an A+ for this as a team grade.
Wow.
You go and you play against a notable, like,
you're not underwhelmed by the offense?
I mean, yes, but I still think, one, this is the first time Brian Kelly's won a week one game at LSU. So you completely erase that stigma of that. And on top of that, too, like, their defense showed up. That's the biggest question mark about LSU this year. It's that their defense was kind of like the Big 12's defense. Like, you just let everybody pass for you, and you're just hoping Garrett Nussmeier throws for 400 yards and 4 touchdowns a game. You just showed me that even with Garrett Nussmeier playing a mediocre-ish game, like an all right above average game, you still won. Because if you were to tell me Garrett Nussmeier threw for only, 200 and something yards, they didn't score more than 17 points, I'd have been, okay, LSU probably gave up a lot on defense. No, they held a very good Clemson offense to only 10 points. And that's why I give it an A+. One, you went on the road, a notable hard place to win on the road, a notable, very good team on the road who has a legitimate quarterback on there. Like, let's say Cade looks amazing the rest of the year, and you made Cade look that bad week one. I'm giving you an A+ defensively for that.
All right. We mentioned this game a little bit. Florida State beats Alabama 31-17. Notable note: the spread was Alabama -14. Florida State beats Alabama by 14.
Alabama's getting a D for me on this one.
D, not enough.
No, because it's still, you're losing a lot quarterback wise. You know, you are going with Ty Simpson. Ty Simpson is not a guy who's going to win you the game. He's also a guy who now it looks like he can lose you a game. But you're just getting a very steady quarterback, and their wide receivers are still really good. They did have a wide receiver, I think, like 150 yards receiving that game, number 5, who really good player. I just think that, man, Bama's defense is garbage, man. Like, now I could be completely wrong about Florida State.
Yeah, your guy, Jeremy Bernard, 8 for 146.
Yeah, and mind you, really good. That's a really good showing on them.
Yeah, he's not Jordan Tyson though.
Yeah, exactly. Or I mean, he's also the 3rd best receiver on that team, and for him to go off like that, but I just think it's just just a very bad loss for them. Now, granted, the only positives you look at it was at Florida State, so it's an away game and it was a non-conference game. And mind you, this Florida State, like, this is also Mike Norvell, who also went undefeated, and Mike Norvell, who also went 3-9. So you don't know who's this guy, really. You do not know, like, what if Florida State at the end of the year is undefeated? What if they beat Clemson? All of a sudden, it's like, okay, this is not a bad loss anymore. But that's why it's kind of,
you're concerned. Yeah,
because this Alabama defense is my biggest problem. Because if you're giving up that much to Florida State, man, Georgia's gonna hit you in the mouth. Like, LSU is gonna punch you in the mouth. I mean, Ole Miss is gonna hit you in the mouth. Like because everywhere else, to me, was okay if you lost to Florida State, but let's say they lost by 30-31, 30-35. Okay, but your offense can keep up. I'm okay with that. But your lackluster offense, and then you got punched in the mouth because Florida State just outran you. They outmuscled Alabama. It's a crazy thing to say. And every other team in the SEC outside of Texas looked good offensively, looked above average offensively, and that includes LSU. So when a Florida State team kind of didn't need to pass the ball, we went over at 9 for 14, and he didn't even have a scoring touchdown, and your running game was the main thing on there, I would be very concerned for Alabama. And Florida State,
good.
Yeah, and Florida State to me got an A+. You went against a very tough team that a lot of people have even winning the SEC this year, and you punched them in the mouth week one. It's a very good win for them.
All right, last one. This game just ended within the last hour and a half or so. Notre Dame number 6 at number 10 Miami. Notre Dame was a 2.5-point favorite. Miami beats Notre Dame 27-24. Miami's first win versus a top 10 opponent since 2017. Gerardo.
I'm gonna give an A for Miami, or a B plus. A or A minus is probably a good one. One you won at home. But granted, it's also Miami. Like nobody shows up to those games. But like, what a great the trenches absolutely won them this game. Carson Beck did what Carson Beck is supposed to do. Is you just need to facilitate the ball to your playmakers. I do not need you to win a game. I just need you to look the part. He did, I think, 204 yards through the air and 2 touchdowns. Their notable receiver was a true freshman. Absolutely went
Carson
off.
Beck, 20 for 31, 205 and 2.
Yeah, so exactly.
Kamar Brown, the running back, 15 carries, 54 yards and a score. Mark Fletcher, 15 carries, 66 yards. The leading receivers, Malachi Toney, 6 for 82 and a score. CJ Daniels, 5 for 46 and a score.
Exactly. Like this is kind of what a Mario Cristobal team is just like, because last year, remember, the reason why Cam Ward put up those stupid numbers because they had no defense last year. Like he had to, and now Carson Beck is like, bro, if you get us 21 points, we're gonna win. And they have a notable win on week 1 in comparison to what Clemson did in the ACC. The only big thing is now they're Florida State. Now they got to go against one another. I would take Miami on that one because I think
I don't know.
I think Miami defensively looked really nice. I think so. Like their defensive line is a bunch of dogs.
We'll need some more context. We need to see Florida State go after a.
I'm a little bit. I mean, Florida State I think is the most inconsistent one of the bunch. I also need Miami's defense to show week in and week out, but also week 1 against Julian Love, like the number 1 running back in the country right now, for it to make him almost a non-factor that game. Now,
we'll actually find out pretty immediately who the better team is because they play Saturday, October 4th.
Okay, so there you go. We'll find it really soon.
They'll play a bunch of crap and they'll face off week 5.
So I'm gonna give Miami like an A minus, and I would give a Notre Dame probably like a C plus to a B minus. I mean, you went away from home, and it's also they don't play in a conference. But
it was a big thing. It's a big thing for them to reach out and play a real team as they did.
Oh yeah, because Notre Dame notably likes to cakewalk all the way to the playoffs, and then when they play against real teams, what happens? They don't win. So I think it's a good litmus test for them, because I think that was Notre Dame's biggest issue for years to come was you didn't play against anybody until it was too late, and so the amount of adjustments that you can make in such a short period amount of time, it's going to hamper you into the decisions that you make. That's why I've never been a big Notre Dame believer because of that. And so I think this is a very good litmus test for Marcus Freeman. I think I will reward them for going to Miami to go do this, especially like you got Carson Beck, they got Carson Beck. They're playing away, and it's a good Miami team. Like it isn't like you went out.
Close. You lost on a field goal.
Exactly. And you almost you made it a game at the very end. They came back. It was 24-24. So it shows that you can at least come back from adversity.
And now you got screwed on the last snap. Not that you're going to do anything with it, but
yeah, right. But at the same time, the ball was in your hands for you to make the game. I'm okay with that. So I'm going to reward that type of behavior.
I think B minus, C plus is fair.
Yeah. With
anybody else on the report card that we missed?
Yes, I have Oregon doing a solid B. I mean, this is where, like I said, when you're playing against Montana State and these teams like that, you can't get higher than that unless you really beat the brakes out of them. And even they did too. They won 59 to something.
13.
You're not going to get higher than a B because it's Montana State. You're supposed to do that to Montana State. And I'm just a big fan of this. Or it's such a well-rounded team, man. And Dante Moore's a legitimate Heisman hopeful. He's a legitimate NFL prospect as well too. But a solid B for them. They are going to be the team in the Big Ten. And speaking of the Big Ten, Penn State B minus. I think it's The reason why I give him B minus is, man, this is still Penn State. I'm not going to believe in James Franklin to win the big games. They're going to out Jimmy and John you. Their players are much better. They have a good running back. They got Drew Allard, and they got a nice little defense on them. But outside of that, I think it's just B minus. They did what they were supposed to do. Another one I would say relatively your team this year, you outside of the Minnesota Golden Gophers, I did watch Arizona State. That was the ugliest, prettiest game of all time. I do not know what to make of it because was it Northern Arizona University had no business sacking their quarterback as much as they did. The stat line of that game does not actually indicate how close that game actually was. But I'm okay with them getting this ugliness out the way early because every year, every team in college football has one ugly game, at least one ugly game. That's why I'm okay with you going against small cupcake ass teams in week 1, because if your ugly game is week 1 against a team that you beat, I'm okay with it because you got it out the way. Now, if your ugly game is against a team that you don't know, like Texas against Ohio State, because both of those games were ugly for both those teams. Mm-hmm. So nobody was like, yes, Ohio State won, but they were just ugly. So I don't know when Ohio State's going to have a real ugly game. Like, what if they go against Michigan and then the true freshman torches them? What if they lose to Iowa? What if they lose to Indiana? Or what if Texas just doesn't do better than 7 wins this year?
What if they lose to Minnesota?
Yeah, I'm being for real. So, like, that's why, like, I think it's always a win-win when you go against, like, Northern Arizona University because you
can't look bad.
To an extent, yes. The unbelievable probability that Northern Arizona was going to beat y'all, like, yes, it can happen. It has happened. Like, University of Monroe beat Alabama the first year Nick Saban was there in week 1. Like, that's the only other time an unranked team has beat Alabama week 1. And those chances are very unlikely because you're just going to out Jimmy and John people. Like, Arizona State was just, at the end of the day, they have better players. Like, I'm a big fan of their running back game this year. I know.
Yeah, they have 3 really good running backs.
Dude, their running backs are legit. Like, they are very good players. Like, you're not going to miss Camp Scat. And then on top of that, too, you know why I like it better than one running back? It's because you're way more versatile on offense.
All 3 of them have very different skill sets.
Yeah. And then on top of that, they all can do also, like, they're a little bit more interchangeable too, as well, too. Like, some of them they all could still run the ball relatively well. So even if a player's on the field, you know what's going to happen. Like, you don't know what's going to happen on a defensive standpoint. For Cam Scatterbo, it's just like, I kind of know that I can just eliminate him, and then where else are you going to go? But then also, like, Tyson is a legitimate threat. Your quarterback.
I think he's going to be the EU player of the week.
I would say, you know what? Because if you want to do that, honestly, yes, I would say he would be my player of the week. He had an amazing catch. He had 2 touchdown receptions. And I mean, he looked really good. And their quarterback looked very decent too. He was very sloppy from time to time, but it was a sloppy gunslinger-esque. Like, I can see where you're trying to make the throws. I can see where you're trying to make the plays. It's just week 1. You're kind of maybe week 1 jitters. Like, you're trying to get them out the way and whatnot. Like, because these cats haven't played football in a hot minute. And they've been, and mind you, a team like Arizona State, like, it's probably like, oh, I just can't wait to tackle somebody that isn't on my team. And so the only concern that I would have for Arizona State is their offensive line. They gave up way too many sacks to a team that has no business touching their quarterback as much as they did. And not only that, but pressuring him so much to move out of the pocket and then rush for unconventional running plays.
I'll tell you, I don't know if you can get away with that against Mississippi State next week.
That or any other team. Because
Texas State is after that, and then they're at Baylor versus TCU at Utah, and then they get their first real big matchup against Texas Tech.
Yeah. And I mean, like, and mind you, these are going to be teams that are bigger. Like, they're going to have notable recruits on their teams, where, like, Northern Arizona, like, no offense, I bet you their biggest defensive lineman was 270 pounds.
I wish there was an easy screen that I could see that. Oh, I do. If I sort
Northern Arizona's like roster, I bet.
Let me sort by weight. No, their biggest offensive lineman is 6'2", 315.
Yeah, but that's offensive line. What about defensive line?
Defensive line
for Northern Arizona? Yeah,
stand by. 335, 6'3", senior.
And then their edge rushers. I doubt that was their edge rusher. I'm pretty sure that'd be like their
They
nose
do
guard.
not sort it by edge rushers.
Okay.
I can't I don't know the Northern Arizona roster like the back of my hand. But yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Like I don't think that they're like I doubt that they're gonna like for them to be touching their Arizona State's quarterback as much as they did. Yeah, like I wouldn't be able to. I was not a big fan of that. And I'm actually
got some shit to clean up.
Like, look, if I'm gonna just defensive lineman 6'2", 270. There's one. What's another one? Like they are just not touching quarterbacks at all. Like with that. Now, granted, the one dude that did stick out to me, they did have a relatively nice little tight end for them there. But outside of that, like
future transfer.
Yeah. Like none of their they're not having any notable guys that are like stacking that defensive line like that. Like, yeah, their defensive line, like defensive tackle, 6'4", 255, 6'5", 260, 6'3", 255. Like, that's very small. Like, and those are interior defensive linemen. So for them to like go after and touch the quarterback as much as they did, I'm like, oh man, I'm not a big fan of this for Arizona State. But let's just say maybe it's a blocking scheme. I do not know how many returning offensive line starters they have as well too, because it's all about chemistry when it comes to offensive line. It does not really matter how many 5 stars, 4 stars you have offensive line. It just comes down to scheme and chemistry. So other than that, also, I guess UGA, I think UGA is probably the safest team as well too. They beat the brakes out of Marshall. They look like a well-oiled machine. They're probably, as of right now, the best team in the SEC based off week 1.
Yep.
But as of right now, to run down, Texas got an F, Clemson got a C, LSU got an A+, Oregon got a B, Alabama got a D, Florida State got an A+, Penn State got a B-, Ohio State. Penn State got a B-. I talked about them.
They played Nevada 46-11.
Yeah. And then Ohio State got a C+. And I'll give Arizona State, because we touched on them, I'll give them like a B, B-, B.
You did what you were supposed to.
Yeah. And Texas Tech, that's my team that I'm following this year. I would give them, the game got postponed, if not delayed, because of lightning, but they were handedly
beat the shit out of Arkansas Pine Bluff.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm going to give them a B for that. I mean, you did exactly what you're supposed to. You spent all that money. No, $55 million got you that win at least. And Texas State, their next game is going to be, when is the next time they're going to have a relatively
probably Arizona State.
Yeah, probably so. Let's see what they're next. Kent State, they play Kent State, they play Oregon State. Utah wouldn't be a bad little game. Utah beat Nico at UCLA. Oh my God, what a fall from grace. Didn't really get the touch on that, but he looked horrible at UCLA. Horrible.
Is that the guy who like his dad screwed him out of a bunch of money?
Yes, at the UT. Yeah, out of Tennessee.
Ugh.
Yep. He looked horrible. They lost to Utah. What? Something. They only put
42 to 10.
Yeah.
Shout out to Devin Dampier.
Really solid Utah team, but I mean, you're gonna get that from what is it? Their head coach. Their head coach always wins. He's like new age Bo Pelini. He's gonna win you 9 games. Like he's a really solid team. They're gonna be a really well coached team. You know, special teams are gonna be on point. But man, oh man, like UCLA, God Almighty, like Nico is hot garbage now.
Not great.
You're talking about like, mind you, also he was getting NFL looks this year when he was still at Tennessee. People were praising him of what he was doing against Ohio State. The dude broke 2 helmets against them because he was going all out for his team. And now, like, God Almighty, it's funny because technically you saw a trade in college football because the former UCLA quarterback went to Tennessee, and Tennessee, obviously Nico went to UCLA, and Tennessee's quarterback wasn't too bad neither, but it wasn't like he was a make or break kind of guy as well too. But
Nico will move on to play UNLV and New Mexico the next.
And UNLV may beat them. UNLV is a legitimate team too.
Then they play New Mexico at home. They go to Northwestern, and then they take on Penn State at home.
You know, they may have a very bad, like they have a losing season this year. And Nico, like, mind you,
Nico's gonna have to go to goddamn St. Francis to get it together.
Not even, because I'm gonna say this. We're probably gonna close the show a little bit on this. I complained about Arch Manning. I'm gonna complain about another 5-star guy. Nico, like, 2 big victories happened for the NCAA with his situation. One, Tennessee did not stoop to him. They stood their ground and said, "You want more money? Go find it. You're not getting it here," which is really good, because if that would have happened, bro, we would have been in the era of entitled kids. Like, everybody, every Tom, Dick, and Harry is going to be, because you also know this in the NFL, right? That you're always compared to your constituents. So, like, for instance, Micah Parsons. Well, I think I'm better than J.J. Watt and Myles Garrett, so I need to get paid more money than them, right? That's how it works. So, and then the next guy, let's say Myles Garrett wants to negotiate again his contract. Or let's say Anderson for the Texans, when his contract's up. He's going to be like, look how much better I'm doing than Nico. I mean, then I'm doing better than Micah Parsons. I need to get paid more than him. And then that's what you do, because if he gets all this money, that means the next guy has to make as much as him, if not better. So with Nico, like, the next guy, if he would have stooped and they're like, all right, we're going to renegotiate your contract, he was going to get $5 million this year. Let's just say that's what he wanted. He was getting like I think he was getting $2 million and they wanted him to $4 million. He wanted $4 million for 4 years, because it was like 16 mil. That's how much he wanted in total. Mm-hmm. So that means every guy that was either in Nico's draft class, recruiting class, or lower, or just anywhere in the league in college football, the moment Nico sucks, guess what they're going to say? You pay him $16 million. Why can't you give me $16 million? And then now, because he went to UCLA, he got less money and he looks way worse.
Yep.
So that means, wow, like, not only do we need to not, I'm glad we didn't stoop up to him, but we look better without him, or we look as good without him, and he looks way worse without us. So not only did we make the decision on not paying him, we also made the decision to not keep him as well too. So that means now these kids can't be like, oh, like, you gave Nico all this money because you didn't. And he just got him. Like, he's going to have a really bad season this year. He's going to look very bad offensively this year. And it's just going to be a very not good look for him. Like, he is going to be him and Arch Manning are going to have a tough sledding this year on their, and mind you, that's all stuff they did outside of the field too, unfortunately, for both of them. And Nico's just going to be a downhill, slippery slope for that man.
All right. Well, there's your week 1 college football kind of recap. And that's all we have on the books. Is there anything we didn't get to that you want to get to that came to mind in the middle of it?
Tomorrow, we technically one last game. Obviously, going to be the Bill Belichick game. All eyes are going to be on that. He plays against TCU, whose notable quarterback is known for something. He is a furry, and that is a very well-known thing. I remember telling you about that yes, their quarterback is openly a furry. We're not here to shame anybody if that's what you like to do in your extracurricular time.
Not that there's anything wrong with it. Yeah.
It's just a little bit odd that your starting quarterback is one and is openly one. Then Bill Belichick, obviously.
How's Belichick going to use that to his advantage?
I mean, let me tell you this.
I'm going to have a linebacker bark at him or something.
Well, I thought that maybe get him enticed. I do not know, Caleb. That may actually work opposite against him. But the other thing also,
want to go for a walk, and he just.
But I think it's probably like the height. I bet you is like, if UNC loses, you lost to a guy who's a furry. Like, come on now. I didn't leave the NFL for this.
I didn't piss away my NFL career to coach a bunch of guys who can't beat a dog.
That I think, but also like what I said about Coach Belichick, this is the easiest
for the Jets to hire me.
I think this is the easiest schedule he's ever going to be dealt with at UNC. He's going to beat the teams he's supposed to beat, and he's going to lose to the teams he's supposed to. If he loses to TCU, this is going to be a very rough year for him. And
let's do a quick UNC rundown, shall we? I'm gonna go through the schedule and then you tell me win or loss.
Gotcha.
TCU.
I'm gonna go with a win.
Charlotte.
Win.
Richmond.
Win.
UCF at UCF.
Win.
Versus Clemson.
Loss.
At Cal.
I think the true freshman may beat this dude, but I'm going to give Cal a win on that one.
Virginia.
Win.
Syracuse.
Win.
Stanford.
Win.
At Wake Forest.
Win.
Versus Duke.
Rivalry game, so that's always a 50-50 shot on that one. I'm going to give Duke maybe a win. No, they're playing at home, so I mean technically it's a home game for both of them. But
it's in Chapel Hill.
Yeah. But I'd give them the win, not over that.
You're giving UNC the win?
Yeah, I'll give them UNC a win on that.
NC State.
And they're supposed to win that game. You see, like literally look at this schedule. Like it's very favorable. Very favorable for them. They're, mind you, in that whole conversation that we just had, there are 3 games I'm concerned for them. One of them is a Cal team.
It's Clemson, Cal, and
Duke, because it's a rivalry game, not because of it's because you do have to throw away all that stuff. Like when it comes to rivalry games in college football, your record does not matter. I have seen a 6-6 Georgia Tech team beat a Georgia team.
Who's playing quarterback for UNC this week?
Their starting quarterback. Let's see. What's it say on Our Lads?
Is it Max Johnson, the senior?
Should be. I mean, they got Gio Lopez.
Maybe Gio Lopez.
It's one of those. I mean, let's see what Our Lads say, and they're usually really good.
Because I haven't heard much about camp over there. At
Gio Lopez is their starting quarterback.
Gio Lopez. Okay, he's from Madison, Alabama.
Transfer, redshirt sophomore.
Is that Madison,
and Alabama? Freshman is their backup as of right now, Bryce Barker.
Gotcha. Okay. In 2024, Gio Lopez.
Oh my God!
500 yards, 18 touchdowns, 5 picks.
Dude, their defense only has 2 returning starters. Everybody else is a transfer.
That's what Belichick likes to see.
Yeah.
Gio Lopez is a transfer from South Alabama.
Yep. They're offensively, they only have 4 total transfers starting. Wide receiver, left tackle, right guard, quarterback, which isn't bad. I mean, that means was it 3 out of 5 of your offensive line, which to me is the most important part. Like if it was a fully transferred offensive line, I would have serious concerns for this. But I'm probably going to, like I said, like look how easy their schedule is, bro. Like even somebody who doesn't follow college football like you do, like you could have predicted 8 wins out of that because of their, like, bro, Charlotte, come on. Like even you as little as you follow college football know that like Wake Forest isn't a good football team.
No, yeah.
Syracuse, even though we were both fans of what's his face last year.
Yep.
Yeah, like they lost him. They're not that good. Same thing with UCF, Richmond. Like, come on now. Like, and even NC State or Duke, they're not notable like powerhouses. Like NC State doesn't have Russell Wilson there anymore. They don't, like Duke doesn't have any notable. Even when Duke was good, they weren't that good. So I think this is just, it's a typical UNC team, which is an 8-4 team, at best 10 wins. Like you're supposed to win 10 wins this year. And that's why I said you paid Bill Belichick all this money to do what you're already going to do.
Yeah.
That
fired the last guy because he's too old. Then you hired a guy who's 1 year younger.
But the thing is, Max Brown was such a great coach for UNC. One, he went back home. That's where he first started his first success before he went to Texas. And also, the dude was a hell of a recruiter, man. Like, he got really good teams at UNC, and he overperformed with those teams. I don't think Bill Belichick's going to overperform. I think overperforming for Bill Belichick this year would going undefeated.
That overperforming might be a ACC championship berth.
Yeah, but then also and that's what I'm saying. You're stuck between a rock and a hard place. It's just the fact that you paid him all this money to do that. So it wasn't like hey, Bill, we're paying you all this money, and if you win 8 games, that's a great win for us. Like, no, this is a good, like, you know what I mean? Like, it's like, that's what I'm saying. He's in a lose-lose situation. And then, God forbid, all the other stuff about his dang girlfriend, like, on top of that, too, and all this other notable things. Like, that's why I'm just a little bit concerned when it comes to Bill Belichick and UNC. You paid all this money to do what? To do what you were already going to do? No. And then on top of that, what about this project screams long term?
Nope.
What about this project says that he is going to be Nick Saban all of a sudden at UNC? None. If anything, he's here for at best 1.5 years. And on top of that, too, he's going to a job in which most people his age retire at, not get into for the first time. So
none of this adds up.
Exactly. And on top of that, it wasn't like, I don't understand. Supposedly he has connections to North Carolina. Like,
yeah,
whatever.
His dad coached there in like the 50s.
Yeah, it's a stretch. Okay. Like, there.
He in his press conference, he was like, my dad told me that my first 2 words were beat Duke.
I bet not.
I bet.
Yeah, okay. But that's what I'm saying. Like, dude, like, it's not even a legacy school football wise. It's not like, granted, UNC has produced great NFL talent. That is 100% true. Julius Peppers. I mean, you also had Robert Quinn. You've had Akeem Nicks. Like, you've had years of Tar Heels being good. Like,
hopefully we got one up in Foxborough.
But I wouldn't say that it is a blue blood at all in the sense when it comes to, like,
they're a basketball school.
100%. I mean,
Duke.
most of the ACC is. And, like, that's why I'm just not understanding, like, what people are saying about Bill Belichick and anything in a positive sense about this, because it's like, you paid him all this money to do exactly what you were supposed to do. Like, you could have hired any other coach to be there. Like, an offensive coordinator from Arizona State probably would have done the same thing here. And you did all that. So that means you're putting yourself in a situation where he has to go undefeated.
Mm-hmm.
And then anything less than that is what you're not paid for. And then he's not going to be there long term. He's just, there's no way. The moment, like, for instance, if Jerry Jones really becomes senile and all of a sudden calls Bill Belichick and say, hey, you're going to be the nenext head coach after Schottenheimer after this season.
You think Bill's not going to take it?
Yeah, stop. Okay, Bill Belichick would have, I never said that as my first words. If anything, I like Duke better. Like, if, you know what I mean? Like, this is the weirdest narrative in college football right now, is that one. Because it's just like, it isn't like they got a notable transfer neither. That's not that. None of these transfers were notable. They're just a lot of them. And it isn't like all the money they spent was on him and his girlfriend. So it isn't like a Texas Tech situation where it's like you spent $55 million in NIL to get all these players, and then like one of them so happens to be 5-star players. Some of them were like notable starters and like other places, and you flipped them. But like, I'm just not understanding this narrative. I think, like, if he goes 7-5, they may fire his ass. Now, granted, they probably can't because, like, but also, mind you, like, how rich UNC is. I mean, dude, it's Michael Jordan's school. Like, you have dumb amount of money there. Like, the amount of rich people who have went to that school, the amount of former basketball players that went to that school, like, that have all this vetted interest into them. Like, you're going to do absolutely fine to get away from the Bill Belichick situation. And there's just going to be a funny time in sports history where that dude coached college football and had the biggest fall from grace.
Yeah, in a
ever.
decade. When Explicitly Unbiased makes it in a decade. We'll have an episode talking about, remember that time that Bill Belichick was
that's going to happen within 2 years. That's going to happen within 2 years, Caleb. That's not going to be a 10-year. That's not going to be a 10-year thing. We're going to talk about this literally in 2027. Be like, hey, you remember when UNC decided it was a great idea to make Bill Belichick's girlfriend our GM? And mind you, too, like, not for nothing, Mike Lombardi is their GM?
Mick Lombardi, yeah.
Yes, like, dude, what? Like, this is not 07. Like, this is not even like 2004. And like, even if you did, how much of a different game UNC is in comparison to the Patriots? Like, dude, like it's not even like you went to Alabama. It's not even like you went to Tennessee. Hell, I would have give you credit if you went to Ole Miss. Like, or like what if Florida State got him instead? I would maybe respect that at least, but like UNC, bro, like, was that the only job that was on the
Yes.
table for you?
Yes.
Like,
the NFL told him to get fucked.
yeah, because what was it? I mean, me and you talked about this before, like last year about how did Mike Vrabel not get a job for a whole year? Insane to me. How did Pete Carroll?
I think now it's starting to add up that Belichick not getting an NFL job was kind of sane.
Yeah, because what was it? The only team that interviewed him was the Atlanta Falcons, and he said he wanted complete control of the team.
Yes,
and that's why they said no because they didn't trust him. And good for them.
Looking like they're better off for it.
Exactly.
All right. Well, we will be back later this week, the midweek. Heavy NFL, I would say.
Yeah, we'll go over all the week 1 games, and then we'll obviously make picks on that and any notable NFL news, and then anything that comes up about it. But I would say the midweek report will obviously literally going over every NFL game.
And if we can squeeze it in, maybe we do a college football week 2. We'll see. We'll see what happens with our schedules and whatnot. I 100%. Was very bad about watching college football this week. Week problem. Week 1 was very weird. You had week 1 starting on Thursday. I couldn't watch any of the Gophers. Friday, what was I doing Friday?
Work. You're working.
I did not work Friday. I have Fridays off.
So there you go.
I was celebrating my little brother's birthday on Friday, so that was out. Saturday, I was drinking here, so that was out. And then Sunday was recovery, and then I watched NASCAR. So we'll be a lot better week 2 because they're all on Saturday and Friday. Like, I'll be good.
But also on top of that too, you are new to college football. So it's also like a bit of a different animal for you because you are watching essentially lesser talent when it comes to football. And also you don't have like a true vetted interest in like a team. Like you are a Gophers fan. Like
I got Gophers and ASU.
Yep. So I would say like, that's why to me, like I'm fully committed to Texas Tech. Like I'm going to watch all their games because I have a vetted interest in this team because of like the coverage of it. And I think like for new people, especially for new people maybe who just watch NFL and they've never watched college, especially like what I'll like my best recommendation like for Kaleb is just like find a team that just sounds super interesting. And
ASU is very interesting.
Like, and just follow them and just be like, you know what? I'm going to watch these games. I'm going to make it an appointment to at least watch their highlights.
Yep.
So that way, because that way it helps you like, oh, I have a gauge on what the talent in college football looks like, especially follow good teams too. Like I always tell people, do not follow a bad team year 1, because if you do, you are not going to like college football because that team is going to be it's going to dictate your mood a whole weekend. And mind you, some of these teams play at noon, and that means your whole weekend plans are screwed because you watched, I don't know, you watched UT lose to Ohio State. And now guess what? UT fans hate themselves until week 5.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm saying. Like, that's the funny thing about college football. In NFL, you know a team's supposed to lose. No team's going to go undefeated. Where in college football, like, even though all these playoffs are essentially making week 1 less and less important, like, no, that team still loses. You're pissed. You're like, bro, I got to wait a whole week till this team.
Listen, the Gophers lost on a bunch of last-minute field goals last year. I was not happy.
I'm telling you, it really, and that's why I say, like, always follow a team that's like for you, I think Arizona State's perfect because it's a team that's supposed to be win the Big 12. They are heavy favorites to do it. It's going to be first time in a long time.
Ties to the state of Arizona.
There you go. And I mean, they have also notable NFL prospect on a team that's always a good plus, and good quarterback, good college quarterback. I always think those are big determining factors into following a school, unless you went to that school. But
I went to UNH. They won. They won. They beat I just had it up. Who'd they beat? This is some loser school.
Western Connecticut.
No, not Western Connecticut. FBS 1AA, I believe.
Here we go.
Rhode Island is in there. New Hampshire. Where are you?
See, my vetted interest would be Community College of San Jacinto, and they do not have a football team.
They beat North Carolina Central.
Oh, look at that! As
27-10.
The team that Bill Belichick should have went to.
the Central Eagles, yeah.
But yeah, that's what I always say. That like this year,
quarterback had 3 touchdowns. Jesus,
look at them go! So
go
this year, that's why I'm following Texas Tech. I mean, I'm just like, I think it's a great little school. If anybody's getting into college football for the first time, seeing this, I would always say, one, always follow your alma mater because you're always going to be so much passionate for that. But as long as it's
if you're like us,
unless you're us, because I went to a community college, so no, don't follow your alma mater. But other than that, I think other fun teams, other than like, I think Texas Tech is going to be fun this year. I think Arizona State's going to be fun this year.
Might have to do a live watch along with Texas Tech versus Arizona State.
Oh, that'd actually be sick. You know what? Now that you mention it, we will do that. Especially
October 18th.
October 18th. There we go. Mark it in your calendars. Me and Caleb are going to have a live watch along of our 2 notable teams that we have vetted interest in. Another one, I mean, Texas State ain't a bad team to follow too. They're the heaviest team in all of college football.
Texas State, the Bobcats.
The Bobcats, the heaviest team. They are, I think they average, their offensive linemen average 320 pounds, which is, so they notably, I remember that was like the big stat line for Texas State. Other than like, they probably lead the league in DUIs.
No, Georgia has that.
No, wait, no, they're the worst in yeah, you're right.
Maybe the worst at getting caught.
They're probably Texas State's probably the worst of like underage drinking, but not getting caught because they
Arizona State has that.
Any state college, to be quite honest, if you go to a state, and that's why I love state universities. State universities are so fun. They are just unbelievably fun schools. Texas State's fun. So much better. LSU's fun. I mean, Arizona State's the funnest. Like, listen, there's a reason why. Since 2000, they have retained the #1 notable as the best place for co-eds. Okay. Just, and listen, I don't need to tell you this story, but you can see this from other players. The #1 recruiting thing that Arizona State does every single time when they bring in those high schoolers, that all their girls on that campus just wear bikinis. And they'll like purposely drive them in the golf cart and then they'll look back and be like, that's it. That's every day here, by the way. That isn't like a girl we planted. Like that is just Gilbert Arenas said that about his trip to Arizona State. Jaden Daniels has talked about that at Arizona State. Every person who's ever been recruited to go to Arizona State has literally said, you do not know how hard it is to be a young man. And it's just, that's not even our cheerleaders. That isn't the, how do I say?
No, she majors in bio. Like,
yes, these are future, like, yes, future workers of America. Like these are like, because there are welcoming committees in college football. Oklahoma was a big talking point about that one time. I remember that they purposely have a welcoming committee, which is essentially is they get the most attractive women on campus to be the ones to say hi to all the players when they first arrive. And Arizona State does not have that because their whole campus is a welcoming committee. And also it's a notorious party school, like super, super huge. And I think that it's a perfect, and then when they play successful, I mean, the students absolutely love it too. Also, Sun Devils, sweet logo too. Different colors as well too. That's one thing I think also about following a college football team. Like,
get some good uniforms.
Good uniform, but merch. Something different that isn't traditional. I think if you're getting into like Arizona State is like the Trident. It's called the Sun Devils. It's yellow. It's like this red, like crimson red, and then they have great alternate unis as well too. I mean, when they were still Nikes, bro, like they're all black unis were sick. And every once in a while they have a notable player on their team. Like Arizona State is not one to not have good players. I mean,
George Tyson, Brandon Ayuk.
Yep.
N'Keal Harry when he was there, I'm sure was
N'Keal Harry,
notable.
yep, as well too. I mean, like they've had I mean, if you look back at like most of their other notable players that they had there, was it Pat Tillman? Was Pat Tillman?
Pat Tillman, yep.
Yep.
Randy Johnson,
Randy
baseball player,
Johnson?
I believe.
No, he
Yeah.
went to USC.
What did he?
Yeah,
I'm
he
thinking
played
somebody else. Who am I thinking of that went to?
Teddy Bruschi went to Arizona.
Yep,
Did Terrell Suggs go to Arizona State?
he did.
There you go. Ball so hard University, baby. There's a reason why he calls it that.
Al Michaels.
Al Michaels, there you go.
God, there was no. God damn it! It's gonna kill me. Dustin Pedroia. God, that's gonna piss me off. Whoever I confused Randy Johnson with.
Darren Woodson went there. Let's see who else. Eric Allen, Terrell Suggs, Jake Plummer went there. So, top 10 players of Arizona State that went to Arizona State. Gary Smith, Darren Woodson, Mark Gastineau. That's also, I mean, Brett Favre hates him. Terrell Suggs, Eric Allen, who I think just went into the Hall of Fame. Yeah, he just went to the Hall of Fame this year, so they have a notable Hall of Fame. Randall McDaniel.
That's a hell of a name.
And Mike Haynes, also a former first-round pick.
Brock Osweiler.
Brock Osweiler, yep.
You just call him Osweiler?
Oh, yeah, he sucked. He's never been good, bro. And then also Cam Scatterbo. Jake Plummer, yep. So I like they have relatively NFL pedigree too. Like so I wouldn't, that's why I said, like, I think that's always the best way to follow new college football teams. I think Arizona State's a perfect one because they're not a traditional blue blood as well, too.
All right. That wraps up your CFB advice. All right. Time for us to get out of here. Thank you all for watching. Make sure you like, subscribe. Make sure you go to that Facebook page. Hit that like button. Desperately need it. If you want to have a really good watch along live back in October 18th, we need your help on that front. And
shout out to all the people subscribing to our YouTube that are commenting. We truly appreciate any type of feedback, whether it's good, bad, or indifferent. We love your viewpoints. We love your opinions. Even if you comment on Facebook, on Instagram that we have, on our TikToks and all of that, like, we are working on so much content so that way you can see not just the streams, but also like working on making a little bit shorts, digestible stuff. So that way you guys can follow along throughout everything. So that way we can interact with y'all. Ultimately, that is one of our biggest goals for this channel, is not just me and Caleb conversing with one another, me and Caleb and a guest, and also more importantly, all of y'all. We truly appreciate every single one of y'all liking, subscribing, following, sharing, and everything in between on us on social media. I just want to take a really big shout out to every single one of y'all who've been here from the very beginning from us. We really,
you guys are getting in on ground zero.
Exactly.
The day one fan t-shirts are not that far away.
100%.
All right. Thank you all for watching. We'll be back with a midweek. Enjoy your week. Enjoy Labor Day. We'll see you around.
Adios.